Hey everybody, Poppin here with the Season 2 draft review of the VBL-N. I went 7-0 in the original regular season and then got destroyed in the first round of playoffs, but that's life. We're back at it again with another team and looking to go far, so I guess we'll just get right into it then. So originally my plan, I really wanted to get Kartana and Blastoise. I think they synergize really well. They're both super good, very versatile, and I couldn't get either of them. So I went with another plan that I've been kind of working on in the background, and for my first pick, I went with some... Am I not even typing? Oh, I'm not. I went with something that was completely undrafted in the first season. Spectra. And for a long time, I really didn't like this mon. I thought it was pretty much garbage, but it's definitely grown on me, and I really think it has some key traits that are very nice for a draft format. And the first of those is the fact that it has Grabomnable, which is I essentially wanted something that can kind of snowball and clean up in the end, which is why I wanted Kartana with that nasty 180 base attack. But Kartana has a couple weaknesses in that it's not quite as fast as Spectra. It has a horrible... It's essentially just... It is a piece of paper, and it goes up in flames immediately to a random coverage heat wave that gets thrown out by... Like, honestly, I think Noctowl gets heat wave. I bet a Noctowl heat wave probably OHKOs Kartana most of the time. And its two stabs, grass and steel, kind of suck. They don't hit much, super effective. Like, you never... Like, in this little team builder... like type chart here, you never see a team that's like net weak to grass or net weak to steel. It just doesn't happen. They're not very good offensive types, and Kartana doesn't have very good coverage options outside of Sacred Sword. So I like Spectra for the fact that it's a lot faster than Kartana, no 4x weaknesses, 2 weaknesses in Ghost and Dark that are pretty easy to cover. Hold up. Whew. I'm coming down with something. But the real thing that I love about this is the Grabomnable special snowball that's not weak to Intimidate, and Shadow Ball has like so few resistances. You're going to either need to switch in a Ghost type or a Dark type to try to tank that, and that's about it. Everything other than that just takes huge amounts of damage from Shadow Ball. Spectre also does have some nice support options, so I want to go that route. Will-O-Wisp support, Bulldoze for weakness policy shenanigans, Haze if I'm trying to stop something else from setting up, or like boosting up a million iron defenses like we saw in last season's finals with the Steelix and the Ferrothorn that both tried to do that. Snarl for supporting my less specially bulky mons. And Taunt's always nice. I don't bring it very often, but it's always something that your opponent has to prep around. But the thing I really like about Spectre is just that it has the Shadow Ball button, and if your opponent's team's kind of softened up, it can just start rolling through them easy peasy, just getting... It starts from like a 2-hit KO, then things start getting an OHKO range, and after it's up to +2, you're done. And I mean, this thing also gets Nasty Plot, so if I protect it with a Redirector or knock out something that threatens it, and it gets one Nasty Plot up, it's off to the races, pun intended. So Spectre was absolutely my S tier pick, and I'm glad I got it because I don't think it would have come back. I was close to the end, so it would have come back to me, but I know Cantor was also looking at Spectre for his S tier, so if I had waited 2 more picks, it wouldn't have come back to me. So that was Spectre. Like I said, I really like Spectre. It's has a really difficult time dealing with dark types and normal types, honestly, so what deals with those 2 types? A fighting type. So I wanted a good, strong fighting type that could take care of a lot of things. So I went with Mega Glade, who I think is actually a really nice option, also undrafted last season. It's a Mega that gives me plus... You have to put -50 here for it to work out, but it gives me plus 50 points. But one of the really cool things about Glade, there's like that chart that goes around, and you see like Mew has the biggest, well, Smeargle, then Mew has the biggest moveset, then Clefable, and then Glade, like number 4 with the biggest moveset, and it's so, like, look at how many boxes it checks off here. That's more boxes checked off than not. So, at 110 speed, this thing's really fast. 165 attack is awesome. It can absolutely dumpster normal and fighting, or normal and dark types that try to come in and stop Spectre. Let me just make sure my music's looping. I don't know how long I'm going to be going. I hope not 42 minutes. That'd be a fucking nightmare to watch. So Mega Glade is really sick. Regular Glade has Justified if I want to do beat up stuff onto it. It also has some other ability that's probably not good. Inner Focus is awesome. It's Mega Glade. It kind of sucks though, because regular Glade can get intimidated, and even if I do Mega, if they switch out before that, because I think that happens before Mega, I would still get the Intimidate drop, which would really, really blow, but I'm sure lots of opponents know that that'll happen, so I'll have to play around that. Maybe don't lead Glade, maybe keep him in the back. But Glade's a really good breaker. Very potent fighting type moves. Psychic type it has all the wacky support options the Psychic types do, which is why all these get checked off. Ally Switch, Trick Room, Icy Wind, Bulldoze, Thunder Wave, all that nasty stuff. And I think it just really pairs really well with Spectra. It can kind of deter Snarl, because Snarl's usually going to be coming off of a mon that Glade can hit super effectively with a fighting move, and it obviously doesn't care about that. Dark type. These two are both weak to Ghost, but honestly, Spectra is probably the best Ghost in the format. Fastest one besides Dragapult, but Dragapult didn't get drafted. And it could pretty much just one-hit KO every other Ghost in response, so I'm not really too concerned about my Ghost weakness, but I do patch that up a little bit farther down the line. So right now I've got 2 fast pieces, and a really strong physical breaker, a strong special cleaner, and from here I decided I wanted a couple more pieces to round out a solid core. So I had a long time to think about this. Went all the way up, came all the way back down, and by the time it got back to me, I wanted something to help out my team in the slow mode, and I went with a good friend, Diane from Season 1. I didn't use Diane as much as I thought I was going to when I drafted it, because Volcanion kind of stole the show, but I think this is the season of Diane for sure. Really good Trick Room Sweeper, really good Weakness Policy user, great coverage, great spread moves with Dazzling Gleam and Diamond Storm. Very, very nice. I think it's just a really good pick, and it can be easily supported by Glade, breaking through steel types if I need to. I can use Ally Switch for, like, if it's trying to set up Trick Room, I can flip them around and then we're good to go. Yeah, I really think Diane's really good, and I do have Spectra here to proc it with the fast, I guess Glade with the fast Bulldoze too. Super fast Bulldoze and the pretty fast Bulldoze with my Clear Body, Weakness Policy fun. I know myself, I'm definitely going to bring that at least a couple weeks. I can't say no to Weakness Policy on Diane. Yeah, Diane's really good. It helps with, what weaknesses does it help? I have a fucking ring light in the way. Move this slightly, there we go. It helps clear up the dark weakness from Spectra, which is really what I was concerned about. It does give a lot of other weaknesses, but that's just part of the fun of running Diane. So I wanted another option here to kind of support my fast mons. If I don't want my opponent to be able to get up Tailwind and outspeed them, I don't want them to have a Scarfer that can kind of mess things up with like a Scarf Electro Web or an Icy Wind. So I went with another mon that is a familiar face to me. It's kind of the season of redraft. So I picked a Alolan Persian, who was part of my Season 3 VBL-S team, which was the worst team I've ever had. I don't know if it was the worst team I've ever had, but it was definitely my worst season by far. But I'm not too sure how much of it was me playing it poorly versus a good team, because I thought it was a pretty good team. It had a lot of strong pieces, but I just didn't use them effectively. It also had really, really, really just awful typing synergy. I had like no fire types. My water type was a D tier, and it was just kind of really rough to kind of get through most matchups. Like I had 3 normal types and 3 psychic types, so bring a dark type. What am I going to do? That kind of thing. So I think Alolan Persian will work a lot better this time. I got the Fur Coat Technician rattled. Kind of a switch between Fur Coat and Technician each week, deciding if I want the extra bulk or the extra power on my low power moves, which is kind of Persian's whole shtick, right? Fake Out, Snarl, Icy Wind. I guess if you do Beat Up, you probably don't want to do the Technician, probably Fur Coat there for Mega Glade. If I beat up onto regular Glade or something like that. But I really like Alolan Persian. It's super versatile. It gets really good moves like Fake Tears and Screech, and pretty much just everything in the book, honestly. Super, super versatile. And when I use it in VBL-S Season 3, it only had the Sword and Shield moves, so expanding it into any move Persian has ever learned ever just really opens up a lot of doors for it, I think. Like, having Knockoff is really, it's one move that I can see right here on this list of, like, important moves, but it's really big. Knockoff is very, very good, especially in a format where... what do you call? There's a lot of dangerous threats that can really just go out of control if they have an item on them, but Persian's really fast, decently bulky if it runs an Assault Vest or Fur Coat, and I think it just gets the job done very well to support my other two pieces. I mean, if you get faked out and then hit with a close combat, that's a bad day. If you get faked out and then hit with a Shadow Ball, that's rough. And I also support my team with the Snarl here for Spectra. Definitely need some extra beefing up in the bulk department. So, enough about that. I actually don't remember what my next pick was, so I have to go to Discord to see what it was. Persian. And okay, so up next, I really wanted to get a speed control mon, a mon that can really help deter Intimidate, which is what I was looking at. So, I was looking at Braviary, but I ultimately decided not to go with Braviary. I didn't really like how it went into the team. It didn't really give much in terms of typing and stuff like that, and I really wanted a good defensive piece, because right now, Diane has high defense, but has a bad typing. Glade has good special defense, not so good physical defense, and these two were just like pieces of paper. So I wanted to go with a bulky mon that can deter Intimidate and help me with my speed control. So when I went with that, also has good typing. So when I was looking around for my choices, I came across one that was pretty compelling. I've never used this mon before in a draft league, so I'm excited to see how it goes. And that is everyone's favorite Korva Knight. So Korva Knight was another B tier, so that's 75. Oh shit, not 875 points. That's 75. Jesus, come on, 75 points. Okay, so Korva Knight's really nice. It has mirror armor to send back all the status boosts, which makes itself even bulkier. Gives me a nice tailwind option that will pretty much all. Korva Knight never goes down in one hit. This thing is so bulky. I think you run the numbers and it's as bulky as Skarmory physically, like as bulky as Celesteela, especially in that steel flying type. I mean, there's a reason every steel flying type has been OU at one point or another, and I mean, typically do better in singles than doubles, but I mean, Celesteela is no joke. Korva Knight's really great, and I mean, Skarmory made it really far last season, and it's honestly pretty undervalued. So I went with Korva Knight to kind of fill those roles I talked about earlier. Look at those look at that. 2 weaknesses: resist, quad resist, immunity, resist, quad resist, resist. And it really just helps with my fairy weakness, because that's what I was kind of developing. I knew a lot of the steel types were going to go quick, and I don't think Korva Knight would have made it back to me had I not picked it. And I really wouldn't have been able to get him on that shoved all that stuff together in one package. My Intimidate deterrent, my speed control, my bulk, my steel type resistances, and I really think Korva Knight pairs well with that. I don't have any fire and electric weaknesses so far, so I can definitely patch up those holes later on. It also helps fill out my speed tiers. It's a little faster than Diane, but I still have a humongous gap right here between 110 and 67, so I was definitely focused on trying to fill that gap next, and I decided I also needed some redirection, because Korva Knight can set up, Diane can set up, Glade can set up, and Spectra can all set up. So something that is really bulky can redirect things away, so I get myself into the good game state to kind of take over from there with a sword stance or maybe a nasty plot, or even a bulk up or iron defense on Korva Knight, really. So I went with something that's tried and true and was probably my MVP from last season, Wartortle. Love this guy. I think the best follow me user in the format. Honestly, I'm surprised nobody picked it earlier, given how much of a beast it was on my team last season. Like Volcanion was a first-round pick this time, after people saw what it could do. So Wartortle, I'm surprised made it back to me, but I picked it. I honestly was going to pick Squirtle if I didn't get Wartortle, because Squirtle's honestly not that much worse than Wartortle, and I could see value in drafting Squirtle and Wartortle on the same team if you couldn't get any other redirectors, because they both have the same moveset. And it's just incredible what it can do. Fake Out, Yawn, Icy Wind, Haze, Follow Me, Helping Hand, and it can deal good enough damage. I mean, there's times last season where Wartortle did that extra, like, maybe 20 to 15% chip with Surf, and it was so nice pairing it with Volcanion, so I could heal Volcanion, deal a little bit of chip damage for Surf, and then blast him with Heat Wave. Obviously, I don't have that great natural pair here with Volcanion, but Wartortle does enough where it doesn't need to be doing that, and it kind of opens me up to get me out of that pigeonhole of, well, I'm going to run Follow Me, Fake Out, Surf, and a fourth move. I can do a bit more this season with not having to rely on that crutch, and it really helps out my other mons that can set up. It only shares a weakness with Korva Knight in terms of my setup mons, and I guess Diane with Grass, but I don't think there's a Grass type spread move, at least not a good one. So yeah, it really I think it fits well. It was so key. I brought it every single week last week, and it played in pretty much every single game because it's just so good, and you can't not draft it. So that's War Turtle. Kind of slowly filling out the speed tiers. War Turtle's speed tier isn't really as important. But I realized I didn't have another good piece for Trick Room, and I say it like I realized this, but I wanted to draft this mon from the start. Oh, War Turtle's another 75. Oh, wait, I get 2 B tiers, so War Turtle was another B tier for me. So I wanted another Trick Room mon that could work really, really well in Trick Room, and I was looking at this mon, I think like midway through the season last season, but I didn't pick it up because it didn't work on my team at all. But this mon has super, super good offensive typing. It has a move that can help it get even slower in Trick Room, and its attack can't be reduced by Intimidate. What mon is that, you ask? It's Grabomnable, the ugliest Pokemon in existence, but he's gonna weave his way into my heart this season, I think. Hold on, let me pause something real quick. Okay, so there's this website, it's on Pokemon DB, and it's your attack type coverage. Look at how awesome Ice and Fighting are. There's like just a handful of mons that actually resist it, and I mean, how many of these? So I don't think Shedinja got drafted. Marowak did. Zoomroll did. Like, there's only a handful of Pokemon on this chart that even got drafted that could even come, like, to a game against me. And I have things on my team that can, like, easily handle those. I mean, I know, like, I'm facing Volcarona week 1. Grabomnable learns rock moves. Facing Tapu Fini, that'll be a bit tougher. There's another one I picked that can hopefully deal with that if I have to. I don't remember what team the Tapu Fini team, what division that team's in, so I don't know if I have to play it or not. But Grabomnable is super strong. 132 base attack. Can run Hypercut if it wants to. Iron Fist is actually really nice. If I face a team that doesn't have Intimidate or like Charm or anything that I'm worried about, I'm just gonna run Iron Fist because this thing gets its signature move Ice Hammer, which counts as a punch move. It's 100 base power, physical ice move, 90 accuracy, which sucks. I'm sure I'll miss one of those in a game and lose because of it. But it makes him slower because 43 is not like ideal Trick Room territory. You want like 30 or maybe below that. But after one Ice Hammer, I underspeed base 30 mons. So unless there's like in a Scavalier, which I don't think got drafted this season, which is a shocker, honestly. Unless there's something like slower than that, I'm pretty much home clean, like in the clear, honestly. There's nothing that can underspeed Grabomnable at that point. I have redirection that doesn't share any weaknesses with it, and I think this thing's gonna go to town. And with how high, well, I guess it's not super high, but it's decently high HP, I can invest pretty heavily into whatever defense I think is going to be coming that week and live a pretty good shot. Like, I can do max attack, max one of these defenses, and just kind of roll with it from there. I think this thing will be pretty nice. Obviously, its typing leaves a bit to be desired. Fire, Fighting, Flying, Psychic, Steel, and Fairy weaknesses all across the board. Really lights up the board down here. Doesn't help out with my type charts. Only has 3 resistances, which really aren't that useful, but I really like Grabomnable, essentially really just for that offensive potency right here. Like, look at how much stuff it can normally hit. And for all these fire types here, it learns Crab Hammer because it's a crab. So, I don't know. I'm just really excited to use this thing. And looking forward to it. And hopefully just smashing through things in Trick Room with that beast. So, let's see. My next mon I picked. I was really, really hurting on my type chart here. This electric weakness sucks. This grass weakness sucks. I have other couple down here that this mon's not really going to help out with, but I wanted to clean those up, help stretch my speed tiers a bit, and I just wanted a mon that can kind of do a good bit of things, like not necessarily everything, but I wanted a mon that's versatile, really bulky, because I was kind of learned from the first season that bulk is much more important than I had previously thought it to be. And Shaman kind of just checks off all those boxes. Helps with the water weakness, gives me a nice grass resist, gives me a nice electric resist, and it also, because it can turn the Shaman Sky, I mean, I can't use that one, that's only the person who drafted Sky Shaman can, but it learns Tailwind because it's sometimes a flying type, which is pretty cool. Doesn't have much in terms of moves, it's pretty shallow movable, but you get Seed Flare, which is like, it's pretty much like Contrary Leaf Storm, obviously not 100% of the time, but 40% of the time, you get a special defense drop, which is sick. And I can pair that with a slower special attacker if I want, because that's pretty good odds, honestly. And Shaman's really fast. 100 is nothing to sneeze at. 100 across the board. Defenses is awesome. This thing is going to be a really big pain in the ass to take down. If you can't hit it super effectively, like obviously grass isn't a great defensive type, but if you can't hit it, and this thing gets a leech seed off on both your mons, sets up a sub, maybe uses protect here and there. This thing's going to become a nuisance really, really quickly, and I think it can be a nice little underrated mon. Because I mean, nobody's really looked at this last season. I don't think it was on anybody's radar. Nobody talked about it. Nobody bothered repolling it. But I think Shaman's great, and it can also actually run physical. It has Swords Dance, and so you can support that with the War Turtle. Get a nice Swords Dance off, and then you're ready to roll and just blast the thing with Seed Bomb, Bullet Seed if you want. And hey, if you get burned, just go ahead and switch out. You've got Natural Cure. So I think Shaman's really cool, and also not to mention it's super duper cute. So you can't go wrong with Shaman. It's a real people pleaser. Up next, I wanted another mon to help with my big fairy weakness, my electric weakness, and just a mon that can take advantage of my speed control pieces, and that would be your boy Toxtricity. Again, I've never used Toxtricity. I think this is, I don't remember what tier this is. I think this might be 75. No, it had to have been 50. Was it 50? I'll just think that out. I don't remember what tier Toxtricity was. But this thing is super powerful right off the bat. This absolutely almost annihilated. And this thing almost wrecked my perfect season, week 7 of the first season of VBL-N. I think Mono had it. Yeah, it was either Mono or Cobra. I played the same guy week 2, like the final week of both of the seasons. I think it was Mono. But Toxtricity, Poison and Electric's a really weird typing. Super weak to ground, but thankfully I do have a decent amount of ground coverage there. But it's really just that... Oh, I didn't know Toxtricity got Technician. That's sick. It's really just that Punk Rock Overdrive with like a Choice Specs or a Throat Spray right off the bat, and this thing just starts doing tons and tons of spread damage. So being able to help that out with my redirection, being able to help with that with my speed control, I think it's going to be really nice. And it doesn't have the best defenses, but it has the right resistances that my team needs to help deal with my fairy weakness that still is a net weakness, and my what else was it? My electric weakness that was pretty not so good. We can get Thunderwave, Snarl, it gets Nuzzle, Taunt, some other moves, but I think Toxtricity is typically going to be showing up as just a big damage dealer, because like 115 isn't the it's not even 115. 114 isn't the highest special attack, but Punk Rock is such a good ability with its sound-based moveset. I mean, if you really want to, fuck it, run Shift Gear and start breaking through things physically. I think it could work out, and I'm excited to use this mod. I was looking at this last season. It must have been C tier then, if I was really looking at it that hard. I think it was C tier. Okay, next pick was... Ooh, this is another mod I've drafted, not in VBL, but in the LCD. Moltres, another B tier. I've got a lot of B tiers on my team. So what does Moltres do? Moltres is an awesome fire type, super powerful, great spread moves, great flying coverage if I need it. It's a nice speed tier at 90, so I'm kind of filling out my tiers here. I've got all the way down at 43, and then slowly creeps its way up to 130. Flame Body is so much better than Pressure. Never run Pressure Moltres unless you're in a singles draft league, I guess, and trying to stall out with like Morning Sun or Roost or something. But Moltres is really nice. It's decently fast. 90's not too bad. It also gets Tailwind and some other support moves with Will-O-Wisp and Reflect. But I think Moltres is really good for... It can be bulky if you want to invest in that, and it while also dealing good amounts of damage, because I mean, with 125 special attack, you really don't have to invest that much for it to be dishing out like clean 2-hit KOs on things with super effective moves. So that's what I like Moltres for. The Rock Slide weakness does suck, but I only have one. I don't have any other rock weaknesses on my team so far, so I'm not too worried about having things come in and just getting buried in Rock Slides. And I mean, I have Wide Guard here. Oh yeah, can I switch one of these? Let's switch Aroma Therapy to Wide Guard. Is Wide Guard an option here? There it is. Oh, Grabomnable gets it too. So these two can protect it from rocks if it needs to. Obviously, a War Turtle can protect it if it's a single target rock move. But I think Moltres is fun. I think it's pretty underrated. Having a 4x weakness to such a common attack type sucks, but if you can support it properly, which I think this team has the capability to do, I think it'll be a good fit. So up next, I really wanted something that can help with this electric weakness and this water neutrality and this fire neutrality. And there's only one mon in the game that can do that. It's not the best mon, but it's so cute. How can you not say no? How can you say no to this thing? It's Lantern. Everybody loves Lantern. And this thing was like I think it was season 1 of VBL where it did the weakness policy, lantern with the Dracovish. I think it was Sticky who did that in that forever put lantern in my heart, and made me remember that this thing is something you should probably look out for. Volt Absorb is obviously the best ability here. If I need to, I can run Water Absorb, but I really don't think I need to. But Lanterns, it's a very good D tier, I think. If you put a Scarf on it, you can have it get some like Scarf Icy Wind off, Scarf Thunder Wave. You can do Eerie Impulse if I really need some help on the special side 1 week. Also, Scarf Volt Switch could be nice. Volt Switch into something like Moltres or Corv for a weakness policy boost. Get out of there for something that helps him out better, and just take it from there. It also gets Stockpile, and with its huge HP stats, really nice. Just could invest whichever defense I think is more relevant for that week. Stockpile up, get who knows, maybe get an Aqua Ring off, get some leftovers on there, and never die. I think not Moltres. I think the Lantern is pretty cool. It's really, really cute. That's just one of the main reasons. And that Volt Absorb and that typing is just so nice for my team. So we came down to the final pick. I had 75 points left, so I knew I was probably going to pick another B tier. Ended up with 6 B tiers on my team. Definitely not as top heavy as last time. And I was looking around, and there weren't too many great options left. I wanted to fill out some other types, and I still have this Ghost weakness, which kind of sucks, but obviously I do think if my team was right here, just like done with these 11, I don't think I would have problems with Ghost type because of Spectra or Impersion, really. But I wanted another option to kind of take care of that. I wanted another way to set up Trick Room because I only have 2, and obviously Diane's going to be the premier Trick Room setter, but I wanted a third option just in case, and just another good, decently powerful mon that can kind of just do a couple different things. So I looked in B tier, and I found our good found our good friend Meloetta, my final pick of the draft. Also undrafted before, and it has a pretty cool ability with Searing Grace. I haven't looked too much into the move pool to see what I can abuse with that. But yeah, it's got all the good stuff. It's got the neat, annoying Psychic type move pool, Ally Switch, Trick Room, Reflect or Light Screen, and then Helping Hand and Knockoff. But one of the things I really like about Meloetta, it's funny. It's kind of fills that same role as Toxtricity, where it's a nice just spread move spammer. It gets Hyper Voice off a nice 128. Is that? Oh, that's actually the second highest special attack stat on the team. That's pretty nice. 90 speed tier is okay. Could be good with a Scarf. 128 special defense is actually really nice. I think its only common special weakness is going to be Dark, and I can just deal with that in a lot of other ways. But honestly, Meloetta is pretty bulky on itself. And if I really want to get super weird with it, which I might have to try it 1 week just to see if I can, but Meloetta can switch into the Pirouette form and become a normal fighting type and get super fast, super strong, and just start doing weird stuff like that. So I really don't know if that'll ever be relevant. It's too hard to set that up because you have to use Relic Song, which does have a 20% chance to put things to sleep, which is kind of cool, but then you switch in, like, it sucks because Relic Song's a good, decent, like, normal special move, but then you use it, you switch into the fighting type mode, which has horrible special attacks. So if you want to fish for sleep with Relic Song, you can only do it once. And even with Serene Grace, 20% is not that likely. So that is the team. Let's go ahead and go through these boxes, I guess. Yes. Oh, this is for singles. It doesn't really matter. But I do want to take a look at the matchup data just to look at some other moves that I didn't really get a chance to focus on back there. I have a decent amount of pivoting. I actually have every pivot move. Look at that. Of course, Glade learns Teleport. What doesn't Glade learn? Clerics are nice. 2 fake outs is enough. I'm really lacking in priority, but honestly, I don't think I need too much. I think I have a pretty decent way of maintaining speed control with either my naturally fast mons or my bulky mons. Because I really like having bulky mons that can set up Tailwind. Like, Illumide was actually surprisingly bulky, so there were a lot of games last season where it set up Tailwind twice, which is why that thing should never have been D tier. That thing got drafted in B tier, which I was going to do, but someone got it before me, so I don't remember who drafted it, but whoever did draft it, I really hope they make good use of it, because my cat just ran in here growling. I totally lost my train of thought there. Decent status options, some good VGC stuff, lots of support moves. It's a pretty big thing here. Only have 1 follow me, but I found out from last season having more than 1 follow me isn't really that necessary, because like I just ended up using the better one every single time. I do have a good amount of screen support, quick and wide guard, thanks to Mega Glade, which is super cool. Snarl. I don't have any Electro Web, but I do have a lot of Icy Wind, which is better than Electro Web in pretty much 90% of cases. Bulldoze for weakness policy fun. Quash is cool. I don't know when I would ever use that. And essentially just the Trick Room Tailwind. I like having a lot of options here. This is more options than I had last season, so I hope I can make good use of them. But yeah, that's the team. Originally, I was actually pretty not so happy with how this turned out. I was really looking at doing a lot of stuff in the free agency grace period. I was thinking maybe switch out my Mega, switch out some of my B tier picks to get some more high tiers, but I decided after thinking about it more and kind of during the course of making this video, it really has grown on me over the last couple days, but I like it a lot. Excited to see how it goes, and I am looking forward to my my first game, which should be, well, we have to wait after Christmas, but it'll be in a bit. But I'm already got the gears turning on what I want to do for this week, so I might actually record a team builder here in a bit. But I'm super excited to start the season. Happy we got a second season going. It wasn't just a one and done league, and super stoked to see other people's draft reviews, power rankings, that kind of stuff, and just for the league to start back up. It's been a bit since I've been in a league. It's been about like a month since I last played a game, so yeah, super happy to get back into it. And I will see you guys in the next one.